What's up, guys? Welcome to a new Let's Play series, a game that everyone should be very, very familiar with. This is Doom! But this isn't just any version of Doom, this is the most complete version of Doom ever released for consoles, and as you guys know, if you know the game as well as I do, that Doom has been ported more times than freaking Tetris. So, this is Doom Complete Classic for the PlayStation 3, and I will be going through the entire first game, and we'll be playing it on the second hardest difficulty. Let's start on the first chapter, Ultraviolence. Here we go. So like I said, you guys should be very familiar with this game, but this is going to be a Let's Play assuming that you guys have never played Doom before, so I'm going to be explaining the basics in a very condescending way. So if you guys are veterans of the series, you may not enjoy that too much, but I will be talking about some of the more interesting caveats of the game, for those who are interested. Yeah, we're playing on Ultraviolence because I like a challenge, and I'm a glutton for punishment, but I'm not an expert at the game either. So, right off the bat here, E1M1, one of the most famous levels of any game ever, with the most iconic music. I want to talk a little bit about why I chose this version of Doom as the one I was going to record, because it's always been a goal of mine for a long time to do a complete console version comparison of every console version of Doom ever made. Doom was originally released in 1993 for the PC as a free shareware game where you could just, install the shareware, and it would give you the entire first episode, Knee Deep in the Dead, for free. And then what would happen is you send id Software a check, and then they send you the floppy disks for the rest of the episodes. I actually have a physical copy, a floppy disk, of the original shareware version of Doom. I don't know if there's an operating system that will install it anymore, especially because many computers now don't have floppy drives, obviously. So I will probably not attempt that, but it's nice for collectability. It was available in the Doom Complete Survival Guide, which is basically that era's equivalent of a strategy guide. So we already finished the level, and I'm still talking here. The first parts of Knee Deep in the Dead are obviously very easy, and I have them memorized. I'm going to be going very, very fast through this game, so almost a little too fast in order to keep up with myself, so I'll just go over things as they're relevant. So then shortly after that we had the Super Nintendo port, which had heavily downgraded graphics, and I would be showing you footage of those heavily downgraded graphics, except for the fact that I was not able to record off the that version of the game using the Retron 3, because for some reason the video would just not feed correctly. It would record about 2 seconds and then it would quit on me, so I don't know what was going on with that. And that left me with the Sega 32X version. We never got a Genesis version, we did get a 32X version. The problem with the 32X version is it actually has pretty good graphics compared to the Super Nintendo version, but the music was very poorly compressed because of the Genesis's sound chip and everything they carried over in the 32X. So, in addition to that, if I don't have a 32X, and if I did, I wouldn't be able to play with the Retron 3, which is how I play Genesis games, because it has this proprietary S-Video-like cable in the back that requires you to hook up to the back of the Genesis, so I wouldn't be able to get the full video feed either. Then after that, we have the two versions that I don't own. That's the Atari Jaguar version and the Panasonic 3DO version. I don't own either of those. They're very rare. The Jaguar version is actually pretty good, but that requires owning a Atari Jaguar, and I'd rather have cancer than that. So, and then we have the Panasonic 3DO version, which the Panasonic 3DO cost about as much as a Neo Geo back in the day, and also had it's actually not a very good version of the game either, because from what I've seen from gameplay footage, the video is scaled down significantly, but otherwise the graphics are pretty good because it does run off of a CD-based system, so it was pretty powerful for its time. So then after that we have the PlayStation and Saturn versions, which are exactly the same to each other, but they're very different from previous versions of the game. They had the highest quality graphics seen thus far, but they had an original soundtrack, which is much more creepy and atmospheric and made for more of a horror experience. But it wasn't that same kick-ass action Doom content that we're used to. We're now on E1 Episode 3. I should be keeping up with that. So I do have the PlayStation version. I couldn't get footage of that either for some reason. The only versions of it I could get footage for were the version that was on the collector's edition of Doom 3 for the original Xbox, which is by far the most faithful port of the game from the original PC counterpart. It has the original audio compression of the soundtrack and the sound effects, and it has the original graphics. Now the Xbox Live Arcade version, which is the version you get on Doom 3 BFG edition, has enhanced graphics, but they've reduced the frame size to like a 4x3 type of frame, which is what you're seeing right here, kind of. I don't know if it's exactly 4x3, but it's not a full screen frame size. But the problem with that version is the audio compression is different, so the music sounds not great. I mean, it's fine, but it's not quite as good as the original version that you're getting on the collector's edition of Doom 3. So, but the great thing about that is the visuals are improved. As you can see, this HD upscaling means the draw distance is better and textures don't blur and pixelate at a distance, which is the problem that we had with that original Xbox version. That original Xbox version is also available on Resurrection of Evil, on every version of Resurrection of Evil if you pick that up for the Xbox. So, finally, Doom 3 BFG comes out for both the PS3 and the 360. So the PS3 versions of Doom and Doom 2 that were on BFG Edition were essentially ports. But we still miss out on individual trophies for them and whatnot, so id Software shortly, or Bethesda I should say, shortly afterward released Doom Complete Classic, which is the only console version ever to be released that has everything. And up until then, it's actually the only modern port of Final Doom that you'll be able to find, because on Resurrection of Evil you had Master Levels. On the Xbox Live Arcade version, you had new content called Doom 2 No Rest for the Living. And then on the original PlayStation version had a version of Final Doom as well. So this is the only version that has everything at the same time. It also has the best looking graphics, as you can see. These are great, great looking graphics for Doom on console. If you guys want me to compare the other two versions I was able to get footage for, I will, but trust me, this is the best looking version of Doom on console. And like I said, it's also the most complete. It does have its flaws, mainly with the saving, because of the way the PS3 takes forever to save files, and it uses its own interface to do so. But yeah, it's basically, as I said, the most complete version of it. It's also one of the versions of Doom I've not finished, so I figured this would be a good idea, a good time to play through the game while getting ready for the new one, and show my love for the game and my knowledge for the series, and, you know, maybe show off a little bit, because I like to think I'm pretty decent at this game on console. You know, I'm not that great on a PC, obviously. So, obviously, to get the basic things out of the way, this is a first-person shooter that innovated the 3D aspect, but it's not true 3D. It still is 2D pixelated sprites for the most part, but changes from Wolfenstein 3D to this game include the ability to actually, we're on E1 Episode 4 now. Changes from Wolfenstein include the ability to actually walk up and down in verticality, like upstairs, because in Wolfenstein 3D everything was just a flat labyrinth with no stairs or any kind of verticality whatsoever. Doom did improve that. Also, more dynamic textures and visual effects and that kind of thing. Doom is just a much better looking game than Wolfenstein. It has a much more dynamic gameplay as well. You can't look up and down, but basically all the character models in Doom work off of a principle of infinite height, which means you can hit any demon sprite pretty much at any altitude as long as you're aiming in their general direction. It's basically their way of making to where the characters will automatically, you know, your character will automatically, so to speak, aim up, quote unquote. I got the chain gun now. Unfortunately, I'm trapped in this room, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it works off the principle of infinite height, supposedly. So you can shoot an enemy that's above you and it will still take damage. There actually are no individual projectiles in this game either. It's all damage cones, very similar to Wolfenstein 3D, how they had what you call hit scans, which are basically damage cones that come out from your the source of your weapon, or the enemy's weapon, and we'll just hit everything that is within that range of that cone. And it's similar in Doom, but it's a lot more refined, where you do have an actual hitbox for your weapons, but it's a little bit more confined. So we start out with only our fists, which have brass knuckles on them, and the pistol. And the pistol is very ineffectual because there's no location damage in this game. And then shortly afterward in E1M1 we got the shotgun. And the shotgun is sort of the go-to weapon in this game. This is the game that made the shotgun the go-to weapon in most shooters. And we have tons of ammo for it, so we're going to be using it very frivolously, of course. We just got the chain gun. The chain gun uses the same ammo as the pistol, but due to its increased rate of fire, is obviously a lot more effective. And as we have a variety of enemy types for fighting right now. We have zombified or possessed Marines, depending on your continuity. We have zombified or possessed shotgunners, which are incredibly dangerous on this difficulty level because their shotguns can do a ton of damage to you. But thankfully the Marines die in only a few hits, so they're pretty easy to kill. But do not underestimate those shotgunners. They're one of the only enemies that can hit us at range, and there's nothing we can do to dodge their attacks. The demons, such as these imps we're fighting as well, fire projectiles you can actually dodge because you can see them coming. You can't dodge bullets though, so sometimes another guy with a gun is your most dangerous adversary. There was a secret up there, but I can't go back up there and get it because I can't lower the elevator back down again. And then lastly, a new enemy type, I guess for maybe this level or the level before, is just regular demons. Those are the pink guys there, affectionately known as Pinkies by the, it was a fan-created name. A fan-created name that actually became canon when the Doom movie was made in 2005. There was a character referred to as Pinky, and I believe the enemies are referred to as Pinkies in Doom 3 as well. Sort of how, like I said, with Transformers War for Cybertron, how the Seekers were originally a fan name and then it became canon when they actually refer to them as Seekers. So this area is a little bit tricky because there's going to be a lot of imps in here. The imps' fireballs are actually really easy to dodge, but they can do a lot of damage, obviously, on this difficulty. The imp is sort of the go-to cannon fodder demon. Pretty easy to kill, very, very high numbers. And the Pinky has no ranged attacks, but it has a lot of health. Obviously, we do not want to get hit by that thing at close range because it can savage you if it backs you into a corner. But yeah, I'm not too intimidated by them. They take a few hits with a shotgun to kill. But, like I said, it's very hard to get yourself cornered to where you're actually going to get hit by one of those guys. Later on, we'll get a weapon that will allow us to very effectively deal with them. Another change from Wolfenstein 3D to Doom was they took out lives and added an actual, basically infinite lives feature, because obviously that was back in the day where they had just come high off the heels of Commander Keen and thought that, lives were all the rage, but turns out, we can do without them. So whenever you start a level, and if you die in Doom, you start at the beginning of that level. You lose everything that you had, though, so saving is actually going to be beneficial. I'm going to be abusing the save feature quite a bit on this difficulty, if you guys will forgive me for that. There's various different pickups we pick up throughout the map. Obviously, there's small health pickups and ammo I just picked up over there, ammo for the chain gun. Every different type of ammo pickup has a unique sprite as well. There's a clip, as the game refers to it as, but of course it would be a magazine. The first-person model that we have here is actually like a pre-rendered image of somebody actually holding a shotgun. And if you look at the picture of him holding the pistol, it appears to be somebody's pre-rendered hand, their left hand, actually, if you look at it carefully enough, holding what appears to be a Beretta. But obviously this is supposed to be sci-fi, so it could be a futuristic pistol and a futuristic shotgun. The old rustic look is actually very much appreciated, though, at least for the era this game came out in. Alright, so basically your core objective with every level in Doom is, get the first key, which allows you to go to the area to find the second key, which allows you to go to the area to find the third key, which allows you to go to the end of the level. It's pretty much the same basic formula that every level in Doom follows, but it's an amazingly unique concept. You wouldn't think that it is, but it's very, very, very just great level design with all the Doom games. Like this game, this series with this very simple formula has infinite possibilities for level designs. There's actually a new enemy type we're fighting right there. Those are called Spectre Demons, which are, I'm probably going to refer to them as Spectre Pinkies from now on, which are just demons that are invisible. It doesn't really help them all that much, though. So now we're on episode 5 now? We're moving right along here. You can definitely tell which pickups are the shotgun pickups there by the shells on the ground there. Yeah, we just picked up some right here. You may notice the bodies stay whenever we kill enemies, which is a nice touch. And certain bodies will be turn into big piles of gore if we explode them with certain weapons or with those exploding barrels there. Doom sort of patented the exploding barrel as well, which became a trope of a lot of first-person shooters to follow. There's a lot of features that Doom had that paved the way for first-person shooters to follow for years and years after. So we have to get the yellow key in order to get through that door, which means I'm going to do a little bit of backtracking here. The first, like I said, episode 1, Knee Deep in the Dead, is pretty straightforward, and there's not a whole lot of backtracking, but this game is far from linear. The later levels will definitely have a lot more cryptic solutions, and the worst levels by far in the original Doom, at least, and Doom 2 especially, are the ones where you don't have much floor to work with. You're hovering over pits like I was just there in that acid. Obviously, if we fall in there, we die. I shouldn't have to explain that. I'm going to kind of take my time with some of these levels in this difficulty because I don't want to get just utterly destroyed by a shotgunner if I come around the corner and lose half my health there. We find the yellow key, obviously. There's a secret over there behind those barrels. I think I'll go back and get that at some point in this level. Alright, so we're going to follow the elevator down here. That's going to allow us to flip a switch and raise a platform behind us, which is going to allow us to get up there to the next part of the level. That's basically what's going on here. First, we got to clear the way of this elevator, unfortunately. I'm running kind of low on ammo. I want to watch my ammo a little bit here. I'm almost out on the chain gun, but I've got enough to survive with the shotgun there. We'll get a lot more ammo as we go.